First of all, thank you for allowing us to come and speak with you. Thanks for being here. I'm a 67-year-old grandfather of 8, married to the same wife for 47, almost 48 years, and I love our country. I have a background that's not a typical politician's background. I built a business, took it public, sold it, went to med school. When I was in my 30s, everybody called me Grandpa in med school. As back then, it wasn't cool to be old when you were in med school then. And I finally got disgusted in 1994. I was disgusted with what was happening in our country. I was disgusted with my representative. I lived in a district of 84% registered Democrats. And I said, somebody besides a politician's got to do something. So, long story short, I ran, term limited myself, came home, delivered another 1,000 or so babies, and was moving along fine until people talked me into running for the U.S. Senate. And I did, and I won. And I spent 10 years working as hard as I could every day to fix what was wrong in Washington. And I came to the conclusion in 2012 that you couldn't fix it there. That's my experience. Now, that doesn't make it truth. That's my experience. I outlined $400 billion documented by the General Accounting Office of fraud, waste, and duplication. Couldn't get Republicans or Democrats to help eliminate it because it all had a constituency, which would help them get reelected. Did the vote on the bridge to nowhere? Now, they all claim they voted for it now. There was only 12 of us when we actually lost that amendment. But the fact is 2 years before I left, I told the leader I was leaving. And then I left. And the last year, I'll never forget, going around Oklahoma. I'd go to do all 77 counties and do a town hall. And people were just probably like you. What are we going to do about our country? And my answer most of the time, until I really started researching it, until I met Mark Meckler, is we're going to pray. And then God kind of answered my question. He brought Mark Meckler and Mike Ferris into my life and expanded my knowledge of Article 5. And I said, oh, that's what we're waiting for. Our founders were brilliant in that they gave us, the citizens, where the power was supposed to reside, the ability to change things when things got out of hand. So I have stage 4 prostate cancer right now. I'm in this Friday I'll start my 5th chemo drug, but I've dedicated the rest of my life to trying to fix our country. And Mark can tell you, without hair and pure white, the last round of chemo, he saw me go around. It is worth it to me if we actually accomplish this, because all my time in politics will not come anywhere close to what this will do in terms of securing the future for those 8 grandchildren. So I'm here, and I was in 21 states last year, working with state legislators, answering questions, explaining why it'll never get fixed in Washington. And it's not that people are bad in Washington, they're just politicians. And they want to get reelected more than they want to fix our country. And that's the problem. We can all identify with that. We all rationalize things ourselves. So it doesn't make them bad people, it just makes them wrong. And what we have to do is what our founders allowed us to do. And, you know, my big deal is I want to cheat history. You know what history says about republics? They all die. And they all die starting with fiscal issues. Today in our country we have $143 trillion of unfunded liabilities. Now, last year the CBO told you that the deficit was $427 billion. But they didn't tell you about the $5.6 trillion of additional unfunded liabilities that were added. Right? So they look at a cash flow statement, and we look at financial statements. The balance sheet means something. That $143 trillion is $1 million per taxpayer. in this country right now. That's how you bring it down to be able to understand how much money that is. That's not survivable. We can't cheat history with that. So we have to change it. How do we change it? I'm going to let Mark come up and tell you how we change it, tell you why he's involved in it. But I know what America's made up of. And I've been all across this country. We all know something's really not right. What we do know is our founders gave us a way to fix it. And that's what we're trying to do. We passed already this year, earliest part of the legislative history, Tennessee passed this year. We'll have 16 or 17 other states passed this year. We're well on our way to 34 states. Mark, come up and explain. Mark Meckler.